Welcome, my wires, back to another video, and today we're going to be playing some Five Nights at Freddy's. Bad horror games. Experience is often optimized around bringing in the most popularity possible to get a quick buck. Sometimes they can be a great open opportunity for a developer, but for the most part, they're all kinda dumb, but for their own reasons. If you've been on the internet, ever, you've probably heard of one of these games. They all follow the same formula of scary enough to stay in your head for a couple days while staying under that little M rating that parents care about, usually at a cheap price point as well. And the one the internet is currently raving about is Poppy Playtime. Just to let you know ahead of time, most of the games I'll be playing are first impressions with a little bit of research, as sitting down and playing 5 horror games takes a lot of time. For those of you watching next Tuesday when this game is irrelevant, Poppy Playtime is an indie horror game set in a toy factory. You pretty much just walk around, solve puzzles, and open doors. There's not a whole lot of gameplay variety, but what it's got is really neat. You get these gloves, and these gloves help you reach from farther away, grab things, conduct electricity. It's just one of those grabby hand things you always wanted as a kid. It's really fun, but outside of that, you play the game for the story. It's kinda hard to describe what the story is about because it's not quite finished, but if you have some Ethereum, you can buy a little hint through a Poppy Playtime NFT, or wait for the new movie coming out. Or if you really want, you can support the developers by purchasing Chapter 1 for roughly 30 minutes of gameplay, and then purchase Chapter 2 for double the price once the first chapter goes free to everybody. Can you see why I don't like them? The game itself is fun. The developers did a great job at engineering new ideas into a genre flooded with copy and paste material, but the higher-ups at Mob Games are just not good people. There's a lot more that I won't touch on, but seriously, I would recommend not giving them your money. What you should do instead is give your money to the team behind Bendy and the Ink Machine. The big reason this game caught on so well is because of the whole Disney-esque design of the game. It's neat. It's your Disney cartoons turned into a horror game. Not quite as creepy as the Winnie the Pooh horror movie coming out, but, you know, it's close enough. It's kind of the same as Poppy Playtime, where you walk around and solve puzzles to uncover the story, but instead of the story being super cryptic, it offers a mainstream and cryptic story so you can enjoy it no matter who you are. The art style is very muted, composed of a slightly tinted black and white color palette paired with gorgeous lighting. This lets the team create a more mature setting while getting away with a T rating. It's not blood, it's ink. While I was writing this script, I decided to play through Chapter 1 again since the last time I played this game was when it released, and I'm glad I did because the entire first chapter was remade to keep up with the quality of the later chapters. I won't try to spoil much of it, but this game I can genuinely recommend. Five Nights at Freddy's, or FNaF for the well-educated folks, is another game you have most likely heard of. It was the birth of YouTube horror games, a game to redefine what it meant to be popular, a game that may surprise you but just so happens to be an indie horror game with cryptic lore. This franchise is a relic of time, and because of that, there's a lot of games. There's FNaF 1, 2, 3, 4, Sister Location, Custom Night, Pizzeria Simulator, Special Delivery, Help Wanted, Security Breach, Freddy in Space 2. There's a lot to pick from. FNaF World is one of the scariest RPGs I've played. It has some decent sprite work, and is the perfect sequel to a cult classic horror franchise. No, but seriously, FNaF is a really good game. I say this because if I called it bad, I'd get a pipe bomb in my mailbox. The first games didn't age the greatest, but were remade recently in the Help Wanted collection. It brought these games into VR for the first time, until it was ported to flat screen as well. It's great to give these games to everybody, but it was built around a headset. It proved that FNaF works best in VR, which is rare to say for most franchises. It makes these games genuinely frightening, and for a franchise designed around hiding little story details, VR is the perfect step forward. But outside of that, the flat screen version isn't very fun or scary, and the other games just don't entertain me. But the people who love this franchise. All these little story details with an ever-evolving amount of games and all these unique and creative characters and twists make this a game lots of people love. But I'm the type of person to play through a game and learn more about the story if I really love it. The issue is, I don't really like the game. And to most companies, it doesn't matter if I like the game or not because it's not the game brand that matters, it's the name brand. Movies, merchandise, collaborations, books, pop figures, any way people can show their appreciation for these games without actually playing them brings in cash because just about every indie horror game preys on a deep, complicated, and interesting story that slowly gets unfolded as time goes. This isn't every indie game out there, but it easily opens up opportunities for YouTubers like Game Theory to catch the trend, talk about all these little hints most viewers won't notice, and come up with theories. and then the next game releases not long after and goes against most theories people had. It keeps things interesting. It's fun to see a large community come together and try to dissect a story. But you can't look at a game like Poppy Playtime and tell me that this wasn't planned. And sometimes, it's not planned. I'm not saying it's every game out there. Again, there are genuinely good indie horror games. But most of the games you will see in this genre are trend chasers designed to rake in a lot of money. This view can change over a franchise's time as well. FNaF didn't start out as a trend-chasing game. I believe it turned into one as time went, and in no other case is this more prevalent than Hello Neighbor. The beta released to relative success, people enjoyed it and picked up quite a bit of attention, and then the full game released. Just to let you know, I know nearly nothing about the beta outside of the mostly positive reception. But if it was anything like this absolute crapshot of a video game, then I feel really bad for whoever had to sit through it. This is one of the worst games I've played. It is so buggy, unpolished, and frustrating to sit through. I played on Xbox One, which I feel could have been part of the issue. But if you're gonna put your game on console, at least make it a good port. Why is the pickup button right trigger and right shoulder button? Seriously, and why don't you ever teach the player how to pick up objects? It's not even like the face buttons are taken up, there's plenty of space. The AI is completely broken and unfair. The platforming is so floaty and hard to control, these little story bits after you die are so confusing, the jump scares are horrible. Pretty much every tiny little thing about this game makes it worth complaining about. Like this little thing here to get onto the roof. I tried early on and it didn't work the first couple times, so I brushed it off as nothing. Couldn't make progress 30 minutes in, I looked up a tutorial, found out I did have to get up there. 10 minutes later of getting clipped into the ground, the neighbor just flying up to me, overextending my jumps, items falling, I finally got up there. It unlocked a door with no extra hands. A door. There's a hole in the wall to get to the other side of the door. Needless to say, 45 minutes into this game, I gave up. And I'm sorry, Tiny Build, but if you thought MatPat would enjoy this game, then you should have developed something that would already fit into his low standards. The last game I plan to play is Granny. I say plan because I went to download the game off Steam and was met with this tweet from the developers. It's still on mobile, but to be honest, I don't care enough to play this game. I was already looking forward to uninstalling this game before I even got it, so if you think I'm gonna play the mobile version, then you're crazy. I tried finding the game online to play, and the only two sites I could find was an itch.io page that had reviews saying these weren't the real developers and this online flash game. It's probably better than the real game. Well, that was a waste of my time. All those games kinda sucked. But hey, I got a package in the mail. It's a video game.